Okay, so obviously, let me just like lay something down. I don't mean to put it like that, but I feel like that's kind of what's being happened. If we're cleaning our new slate, we need like refreshing principles, for better lack of words. I don't want to use the word programs, but because it just sounds inorganic, but like an organic construct, an organic structure of what we are, what is not, what we are not. And it's our own choosing, of course, our own beliefs, our own feelings, how we vibe with the collective, etc. But more importantly, the primes of self, the primes of energy, the primes of creation and, you know, disillusion and the steady streams of allness and whatever that pertains to the prime principles of allness, such as, the constructivism, deconstructivism, the seeing for what it is, the neutrality settings, um, and really, one key thing I wanted to hone in on, zone in on, is, I mean, we could recap anything, we could wrap up anything that we feel is pertinent, that we feel needs to be addressed, and who's going to address what in a graceful fashion, and what needs to be addressed, and seeing things for how they will transmute and work out for the better, specifically. And I guess identify. I don't want. I'm not. I guess, but like, I mean, I guess this word will suffice. But identifying for the sake of our comprehension of as a human, or just as a consciousness conduit of ourselves, coming to terms with all that is, all that surrounds us, all in which we're accelerating with, and seeing what still needs to be dismantled, still doing the checks and balances within ourselves, specifically such as this inner child. Okay, respectively, in the world of duality, there's a dualistic function to the inner child, and I want to hone in, key in on the distorted inner child, and that just being fed, like, and I'm sure, like, it's already been displayed with all the forms it could take, and on the upside, there are many forms which it could take as a creative force in its own respective balance, and that is the new essence. That is the, because how are we fitting into the future, and what do we hope for to happen for us in the future? What do we think is going on? What's going on? And what can we attain? But just this distorted inner child that kind of lives within us for various reasons, and how it's kind of, circulating for, in one sense, or still having this uprootment of, hey, this is mine, or just being like, just having that, just the mannerisms and how we treat each other is what I yearn to come into alignment with, of, because that, honestly, if I'm going to be honest, in my current now, this current self, in my current evolving and upgrading, there are many things I need to work on, and I feel okay with saying that, and with having the proper patience of knowing how to move, I could sort that out in easily highly accelerate that just with the various components of all the things I don't need to work on per se, because it's a natural thing, it's a negentropic thing. That word equals a self unfoldment of what already is, of just the natural order of things, the natural symphony of harmony, and just the progression of the unfoldment of beauty and trueness and holism and, completion and true, like, managing of the righteousness for all. And really sharing that with this, laying it down with everybody in, like, graceful harmony, and getting the message across to yourself, talk to yourself and be one with yourself, accept all of yourself. And this plan I've heard of, which to a parcel of all of us are a part of it, but the plan of magnetizing and opening the floodgates of the eternal, unlimited, ethereal synergy of maxims to this plane is of unique, new, extreme essences, and the purpose of that being is for the sake of the reversal of all the damage that has been done, focusing on the timeline that needs to be focused on, focusing on the timeline that needs to be anchored in, firmly rooted, and instilling yourself with this timeline, overcoming the fear in all aspects by any possible integers on the relay board, and communicating specifically with people who on a heart-based level have the same intentional resonation or the resonantial intentions as you, meaning that you guys could help each other out to the highest level as opposed to other people, and by doing that you are securing yourself, which ironically security plays a role in all chakras, because if we're going all chakras and now we're making new chakra systems, now there's 36 chakras, so that's just more, not, because the word infinity is just kind of like an over encapsulating marker, but therein what lies in the coagulating gyroscopical inhabitable fields of life, there is classifications of the diagrams of the levels of what is ever intertwining in our self-evolvement, such as the allness of your most inner depthfulness that's being ever sprouted out now, and being somewhat unlinearly parallel with these laws of energy and nature, and aligning yourself and seeing what expands and what contracts. And there's just so many ways to go, and there's no ways to go, and just interlacing the paradox of all paradoxes, whatever that may be. And like, if everything is everything and everything is nothing and nothing is everything and nothing is nothing, then why on why on to everybody who says that their own subject is more important than another's, because someone could say, oh yeah, there's this many religions, there's this many religions. Everything in one sense is a religion. Everything is a subject. Every subject is a religion to one essence, because people devote themselves to their art and the passion as if it were such a religion. So in one sense, painting is a religion. In one sense, cleaning is a religion. In one sense, just being it's the lifestyle itself is your own everyone has, so there's infinite religions, for better lack of words, because everybody has their own unique personal set of lives, and who's to say what's the most accurate system for another? So therefore, that's why this notion of the integration of integrations, for better lack of words, is being implemented to this point. And we're interfacing with that on a collective level. What needs to be digested is asking yourself what is going on, not only with the whole environmental totality of it all, but what's going on in relation to that with you and whatever you think source is, and your ever evolving perception of that. And whatever you think is unfair, how much are you neglecting your responsibility towards it? So going back to, the why of okay, so science is the most productive, energetic, magnitudinal, energetic resonance. Okay, so why aren't they seeing the science within the all, the science within the speech, the science within the linguistics, the science within the expression of what is just needs to be spilled from a soul level, and just the soul charting of the ever inner infinite interlaced web of knownness and allness, and seeing your part of your origin, seeing your roots, seeing your potential, seeing the collective potential, seeing ourselves. So if we have selves, who's to say what's our true self? Pure source consciousness. Have you been there? Of course, I've glimpses, this life, whatever, what lives are we counting? What yearns to be accomplished? Be it rhetorical asking, or be it genuine curiosity asking, what yearns to be overcome from a heart level, what can't be overcome? This particular question might frighten you, scare you, or embrace you, prepare you for what needs to happen, for what is the overall grandest internal expression of, from the minute to the indefinite to the macro to the quote-unquote self-proclaimed, or not even self-proclaimed, it's just self-aware, self-conscious on what it is, therefore is what it is. And it's never going to stop, and there's going to be unlinear trillions of perspectives, quadrillion, sextillion. We're coming from the higher number magnitudes, like these numbers of high caliber are their own bracket, are their own base of meaning and structure and construct and earning and accumulating and compiling and just energetic attunement and outreachment of what is the highest collective potential of all, everything's and really everyone putting their best foot forward in one, because look at the main parallel concept I always go back to is the the valid timelines and the relevant timelines, because emotionally this is real. So just on a percentage based, I mean, yeah, this is a hologram, but it's more real. There's real constructs to it, because in physicality, like if we do jump off a cliff, we're gonna fucking feel the gravity crush our feet, unless you're like a fucking cat or just some other creature that could obviously dispel the such malignant energy strategies, which will be overall on a totalitarian level, because the cosmos is like in its own balance, like its own child too, because it's still realizing itself what it is capable of. Because like, even though like if infinity is true, which it is in infinite facets, in infinite things, in infinite just reaches of like where it's reaching, the topmost pinnacle of the accumulation of the super supreme being. Okay, that sounded stupid. But if what he says is true, because like I need to respond to these guys, I need to respond to these ladies, I need to respond to these felines and these dogs and these fucking, pretty much these hogs, dude, because they're hogs. That's what they are. It's like, you're just a fucking hog. We're helping you in the highest, in the end, ironically, because everything that you put out is going to come back to you. And that in itself is your own, it's just interesting how they could like just sit on that processor. And how inorganic is it? That's the thing too. Because what if AI is making all this up? And what if everything I've ever heard in my whole life is still false, that I've ever heard, to some like magic degree of just phonetic reassimilation and reconfiguration? Because like everything is like utterances and syllables and bangs and booms and ricochets and just the fucking endless chi of someone's valley, the chi valley. And the co-creation, because like honestly, without me, look, this should be truth for anybody. Without us having anybody to reflect ourselves upon, who would we know ourselves as, like on an overall template state and an overall collective synergistic conscious being state that is multi-componentual, or it's a multi-component processor board of like a full depth being, of just starting and making a keen list of like, see, look at, they're fucking just making the keen list of the sequential outbursting order and shit. If someone could do this with, just material chemical essence, from its like most densest to its most least dense, to the most anti-dense, to the most no dense, to the most, somehow I'm still supremely omniscient, and I'm all 5 of those senses, which is a keen 6 and a 0, because the 0 is that, so it's really a 5. So just the 5 somehow just, but then that's, how many dimensions is that? That's a very highly, 5 dots can make a 3-dimensional object. Hell, and a anti-dimensional object, because if you invert the space in any mattered area and you just reverse it, and all the no matter areas in the solid matter, there is still, to some subatomic microscopic degree, and actually to a more narrow, to a more arching sporadic energy projectile of just kind of like amassing in an expansive, all directional pursuited way, within and without and with over any spiral you're casting, because in the end it's just spirals, and it's just Fibonacci spirals. We are the Fibonacci spirals. That's the funny thing, because they're all keenly their own Fibonacci. So just having, and all those Fibonacci's having their own unique biomemory primary distinction of what it is, what it does, what area is it in, what its function is. It's like, if we have 50 trillion cells, which I heard Mr. Ra say on a recent video, Uranus Energies 2018, pretty much what's going on there is like, damn, this is like some sort of like, do they have their own personality or ego? I'm not saying conscious, because they're by all definiteness, it is a conscious, because it's moving. What is movement? What is beyond consciousness? That is without being conscious, but still conscious. So being there, we're already there, and we're always there. It's just how we realize that we already are fucking there, and how much we really don't give a fuck in the end. Because looky, no matter what time sphere you're in one state, you're always gonna like have to do this hyper oscillation alternation of being still, being nothing, and coming from those roots, uprising and outspurting and outspringing from those roots of your darkest depthful germination seed tank of no matterness, of anti-encapsulation or anti-cohesifying, structuralizing, mobilitizing energy flux inner emitters. And you feeding off your perpetual biomachine in all facets necessary, in all diagrams necessary, in all breadths of bodies of being that you could, ultimately climb towards, and just have a knowing of it, a smelling of it, just that subtle ethereal strand of just inside each and every thing that casts its own spiral trail or spiral trajectory projection of its own movement, of its own endless essence of effortless negentropicness, or negentropy like natures, of just the natural outbursting and and then just what's really bursting, and the ultimate correlation, correspondence, I'm like, and I say this with humbleness, like, and this is just me talking to me, fuck, like, if we're in a fucking universe, then how diverse more is it gonna get? We have to train ourselves to like, to prepare to like, how are we gonna visualize, or how are we gonna like be on a moment-to-moment basis being in these new fucking bodies, because it's a lot of talk, still it's a young age, still it's like the fucking garden is just barely being like seeded, and like, what are the proper seeds though? Like, what are the most rooted foundation, like, and going back to what I was saying, because I'm going in forked roads. I mean, this is beyond the forked fucking forked tongue. Oh fuck, man. And it will, yeah, actually I do know, because it's always gonna be there. So, and there it is right there it is again. It met like a Shiva and Shakti, and you know what, that's what it was, dude. This is for me to discover the neutral part, This is like the ultimate testament to myself, is to overcome needing a partner. And I respect the people that are giving me the hints, dude, because they're helping me climb higher. And we're all climbing higher to what? To like, I mean, you want to speak of the top down? I mean, that's cool. Like, we're all imagining it and stuff. But what does it mean to embody it overall? And that's like, I feel like that's a word of a day at least. Embody. I mean, and I'm looking at a graffiti post right now, and it says scam. Or maybe it says scram, no. And maybe it's telling me that I'm scamming, and maybe in one sense I am, and
just for me to lay it down like that and to be vulnerable, but still hyper jolty to the multi-versatility that's always inhibit and always existent with me, and it's ever fucking infinitely perpetuate. But like, I don't want to. This is just what's unraveling, and who's to say if I'm even me? If you think I'm fake, okay, you know what? You might be right, because like that means that's a good way free card for me, because I don't have to be me then, and I could go run free and return to my pure source conscious, and whatever you think of this material form is just okay. That's your own fucking programs, real talk, and that's just your own fucking like ever growing, ever evolving rate of consciousness, and everybody has one, and the collective Shaktipat of just the mental eminences, emotional eminences, you know, what's occurred with your own physical, spiritual, depth impacted traumas of like, okay, because like material or not, this is nucleonic, hyperonic energetics right here, gammatrons right here. So like really, and going beyond that, because what is the specific capabilities of the meta body, which is just downright endless. So this is going beyond infinite. Now we're talking about endless mechanics, and endless mechanics is just like, how long do you know that you've been endless, and what is your beginning then? And how could you account for everything then that far? And this is me talking to myself, me talking to everybody. I'm not, and I could discuss it with anybody, and it's like, this is not me, and it's just a collection of everybody. And that's the thing, that's my own slap to myself, and I caught myself right there, because like, if you could say something or you could be something, and it's just going to come off in a wrong way no matter who's who, because these instilled programs are solidified and concrete. So like, just casually capturing like the snap title of just deciphering mental codes and spells, like doing that, that's all. Just looking at that is activation enough, because that is the instantaneous seed of just like, yes. And I think it's a battle of symbols. It's a battle of like, and it's like symbol wars, the phonetic wars, these dick wars, these octopuses, these fucking crustaceans, and these cephalopods, and these metapods, and then these Bowsers, and like, okay, see, is that not shit true? Like, is that, maybe it's just 4D bullshit, dark 4D, because dude, this is a dark 4D and 5D, because 5D has to have its undertone, and I'm sure like, I think every dimension is like at least 2 dimensions. That's the duality in all things, because it's just a dark side, a dark depth dimension, and a light depth dimension. And I feel like astrology could be 24 signs, because like you could be in like you could be a dark Gemini or a dark Virgo, and then you could be like a sun Virgo and then like a sun Gemini. And I don't know why I picked those two. Those two are just good pals, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But like, we're there right now, and just like, if like them just kind of like being chill with the mechanics of eternity, because like, what is eternity? You could still be on your own way. Like, this is established perfective order within your own mental constructs. What's the definition of perfect? Just standard structural alignment, and you know, synchronistic resonance on what you're trying to, you know, be in space with. And you know, it's a battle of those integers as well, because they're different categories within their own categories. And you could go off on that, and just like, is it already established? Maybe to some degree. How high has it been kept? And maybe it is a working model right now, and we are downloading it. That's because they don't see the download. They just see the, or maybe like to some degree they see the download. Do you see the download? Do you see the upload? Do you see the live stream of all live streams? And like, it always being different, because that's just one tune, and then it's the multi oscillator optometric, infrared optometric, heat-seeking time streams of the plasma being, of the Yaldabaoths, and the, you know, these Yahwehs, and these whatever you want to call them, these juggernauts and these, like, you know, you don't even have to say the other one because that's its own, that's its own, like, temporary project too. And, like, everyone's going to talk on it, and that's where you negate it, and where you don't, that's where you cancel out entirely. Just zip it away, put it in a box, unnecessary data, unnecessary files. Okay, that's it. Fucking throw some shit on it, and then fucking put a match on it, and then throw some, throw some just spiritual fucking alkalinity, some metaphysical alkalinity, and that's what's going on. It's so pure, it's so fresh. It's just the breath. Every breath should be that. Realizing the sacredness in all things, like, even, like, just, like, and if you do that, like, what if you, like, just give this low-key, like, confident praise for, like, anything. Not everything, anything, any fucking piece of matter, this concrete, this fucking stone, this ash, this fucking seatbelt thing right here, this steering wheel, anything, some ashes, some white hairs, some cells, some genetic DNA codes, and really dialing in, the prime DNA tablets of the mitochondrial templates of what we are based on. And the collective collab, let's just give it away then. Like, if you're serious about sovereignty, everything you have you should give away. You want to bullshit with me? You're talking all your shit all slick over there. And how high in your own intuitive self have you accepted and did what you will say you were gonna do? Where is it to whatever degree you think is that, and what dimension is that, and what fucking thought process is that, and what collective project is that, and how are we gonna harmonize to this collective project? How could you harmonize? Are you still on this fucking old baby bandwagon trail trek? Like, I have to tell you like that, and you have to have your little upfalls or up pits of, like, little glory. And it's just like that glory of how long will it self-sustain you, not fulfill, because obviously that is out of the question. These, like, what, it's just an anti-fulfillment, anti-inverted fulfillment. Let's speak on the dynamics to get through this, like, with over essence, with over grace, with over soul power, over soul voltage of just, like, just fucking demolishing, like, and obliterating any tidbit of malevolent Rubik's cubes or any fucking dark polyhedronic force field that just wants to reap on the innocent shall be negated now in all dimensions. The soul will count that to be a fact right now. And I'm doing my piece. Obviously, oh shit, 4. Don't be playing with me. No. Anyways. Okay, and just, like, realizing, like, okay, this isn't me. Because, like, honestly, I feel like I had, like, this subtle, I wouldn't call it activation, but it is a micro activation, because, like, you feel it empathically through the initiations, and every fucking moment is an initiation, motherfuckers. Like, seriously, that's the thing right there. Every moment's a fucking revolution too. I've already said that in the past. There's a lot of cool things. So look, recollecting has its pros, has its cons. Every spectrum has its pros and its cons. Spectrums within spectrums within spectrums within platforms within bodies of just what? Ultimately to what? To the mother? Or to, like, the knownness, the no-matterness. The real fucking shit. Who am I to say it? Well, nobody. Exactly. Nobody of consciousness other than itness. Iso. And just people are claiming their own unique creations. Is that fair? To some degree, I suppose, but what does it really matter? Because and I've already said this in the past podcasts, it's about like properly sequencing your future. And you know what, you want to open source that? Let's go. Open source it. See, look, we could open source and close source anything, and that's what we respectively are, and we need to be closed off to malevolence. Yes or no? We need to be closed off to like fucking just distraught chaos of like the turbulent winds of just supreme fucking precision somehow. It going back to the wind, because the wind is like, that's what's gonna like really shape off things. And the fire, the water, the ether, and then every earthy element, which is like what, 109? There's like sand. Sand is its own thing, you know. Then we got trees, wood, metals, gold, earth. Earth being the base, what primary elements of its elements within elements, and its elements mating with elements, and just, I guess, knowing how you are in the game. Not even knowing who you are, but knowing how you are. And that's different than asking like a lot of things, because how you are is multifaceted. How you, by default in this game, because what, it's games within games within games, is it not? If it's a cosmic joke and the cosmos is perfect and we're just doing it for shits and giggles, and like Earth is just one secluded off like tiny show for everything that's participated or non-participated, and emphasizing on the non-participating and going back and now developing and managing how they're going to want this. But can we have it in a bomb timeline where we could use it to the highest degrees, where other off species could get it now and get it started? We're talking to, look at, keep going through, keep cutting the middlemen off. What's the ultimate middleman right now? Is money. Okay, who, and then all below it, and whatever wants to identify as that facet of energetic motion, and them not even realizing that in itself, the facet of the energetic trajectory, and what you tell yourself you are, what position you're placing yourself as, whatever you think you have been fed, whatever your highest dreams and your highest heart's calling is, just like, yes, I am this, I am this, I am this great swimmer, I am this great sprinter, I am this great rock climber, I am this great surfer, I am this great scuba diver, I am this great snowboarder, I'm this great BMXer, I'm this great flying bird, I am this great like pilot, I am this great like psychic yogic being, I'm this great, you know, plasma field of energetic infrastructure, pyramidical influxes of whirlpools, tornadoes, cumbersome cabbage-like catastrophes within the porridge, with the stew, with the soup, with the with the brew. Anyways, and look it, dude, like, if y'all want to judge, like, like on some, like, just on some fluid, though, on some flu, but, and it's, like, just, okay, how many people do know, because, like, there's always levels above us of who's really watching it, and ironically, in the paradox, the intermerging, and the intermerging, and the inner plasmic layering interface of the highest paradoxical topmost tripolarities, and its own anti, so it's 6 and it's 7, so that the true neutrality is 7, and that's the 5 and the 2 and the 2 and the 5, and they got they split up the 7 even more, because before the 7 was the 5 more or less, and before the 5 was the 2, and thinking of the numbers going backwards, starting from like 0 being the highest, 1 being the next highest, 2 being the third highest. Oh shit. Or the least, or yeah, the highest or the least. And going beyond, in like just like real like hyperdimensionally going beyond all these little fucking baby programs that everyone still wants to play. And I'm saying that from the fucking, somehow from the heart, dude. And I don't even want to just say like, oh, I'm saying it from the heart, overdoing that. No, it's coming. I feel it. It's about feeling and going beyond. And that would be like, everyone could say that. But we are what we are. And no one cannot tell us that. And wow, dude, like business in every stream, dude. I feel like these are my micro streams, and this is my open source, and this is my implementation, and this is my fucking stuff, and this is yours. We are what we realize to be. This is our stuff to play with. This is like my stuff to like play with, to like build. This is your stuff to play with, to build. And that word right there refreshes every fucking template, whether you think it does or not, because it's just, and it's uplifting, and like remembering the upliftments, the fulfillments, remembering what's gold, remembering what's true. And honestly, like, for us to fucking rate our relationships on like a metaphorical, like, quality platform is ironic, because, and I feel like we all have these like instantaneous, like, subtle judgments, and like for me to like ultimately be mindful of that is just like, who's actually there putting it out and actually helping me to highest fulfillment? What group of people? Because there's groups of people within groups of people within groups of people. So saying spiritual community is like stupid, because like it's more vast than that, and it's more subtle than that, because like there's, everything is spiritual, first of all. Second of all, not everything is benevolent, or not everything is true. Screw the benevolent, malevolent. What's true, what's false, how, like, just keenly, like, just do the mathematics to ease it, because the eternity will trump it. The eternity will outgauge it. And to see how, like, not that long ago it was, but, like, if it is, it's still going on, though, and that's my biggest forgetfulness, perhaps. And maybe, did I need to forget it? To some degree, I had to have it, because I was curious, and the curiosity will get you. That's the fucking real innocent, benevolent addiction, is the curiosity, because look, we need to know how it feels. We need to know how it goes. So ultimately, it was just a sequence of those micro movements and decisions and choices that led everything to everything, and that being a collective swirlpool of everybody inputting and everything, and that's still going on, and that's still never stopping, and it's an endless pursuit of that happening this instant. And how is it going to unfold for this timeline? So going back, like, what are the valid timelines? Because, and I guess the timeline and the universe are the one and the same, because ultimately, like, the other universes are perfected, being like, it knows what it needs to do, and there's only one manager that needs to do it, because if there's two, then it would just be confused. It really would, because then it would be a suspect for manipulation, and that's the highest responsibility of whatever it's proclaiming it negentropy to have, and to create, and to self-sustain the such. And that being its own economic management of focus, of fucking analyzing, detailing, intention setting, being the base and the root of all germination, which is stability, endless fucking. But that having its own, spherical managements, with that having its own gyroscopical locks on how there is instability within the stability, is it not? Like, yes, the duality of the cosmos is perfect, there is imperfect cosmos, because the cosmos itself should be all encapsulating. Okay? What microcomponents and macrocomponents constitute the such mechanism, biocelestial mechanism of hyper etherical flames, luminescent flames. And just really pristinely calibrating it to the highest pixelating clarity that we could possibly do it, focusing on within everything, disintegrating all malevolencies within and without me in absolute grace this second forever. So be it, so it is. Have the best soul, endless journey pursuit possible. Thank you. Thanks. No surprises, releasing all guilt, releasing all shame, releasing all complaints, releasing all regrets, releasing all expectations, releasing all worries, releasing all doubts, releasing all fears, releasing all, excuses, releasing all, just negating, dispelling, and dispersing the positive outbursts and the opposites of all those, and just going back to why you're doing it, and it's the immaterial intentions for you, apparently, for how you could distribute it properly to everybody around you without it getting reciprocated and whiplashing you back, because that's what sometimes things tend to happen, is like you give something to someone and that's kind of like, it's kind of like, these are little thought bubble forms or thought bubbles, like, because it takes a while for them to be expressed too, because even though, aside from parallel suppression, like, yeah, we suppress stuff, but it's moreover, we're shocked about like what's happening, and like, it's like, how can we put this into words or expression for it to actually be completely properly released in itself, because everybody's talking about release, let go, release, let go. Okay, yeah, sure. How? And like the process and who's helping me, and yes, the balance and the equalization is, there is fast ways to do things. Like, people say, oh, there's never a fast way. In some aspects there are, because people are helping you. So that's, and it like, and there's two parts of the ego too. There's a righteous ego and a non-righteous, just distorted, like, baseline ego that everybody has. It's not just necessarily the Indraya or the Indra itself. It's all of us on our own base level, so we can't point the fingers at just one thing in itself. And just going back to even the thought bubble forms, they're not necessarily negative either. They're, or positive, or, I mean, if that's the base prime default classifications and titles and labels we want to give them, like positive and negative of everything, sure, but like, aside from positivity itself, that has its own like gammic array of like everything, of everything, literally, and everybody is everybody. I'm in you, you are in me, and like, knowing why we're doing this, and just knowing my intentions immaterially is for my own stillness, and that's and everybody's like helping each other, like, see what we could do best for each other, and that's called evolution. And yeah, you could put and one thing I want to hit home is just like, everything that you come across, no matter what it is, like on a subconscious, unconscious, and conscious level, or whatever level you want to put on it, anything, anything, any subject, experience, object you come across, interface, and interact with, you are in some trinergistic trifective effect of like, you're defining it and you're choosing how you're going to associate it. And then we could ask, like, where does our choice come from? Where does, like, who's choosing, like, is it, so mapping out the probability of self, quote unquote, control, because control is like, oh, like these, yeah, like, yet again, we define it. We retransmute the definition of what anything means for us, because at anything, yeah, these things could mean something. And the people who created this certain subject or object, they made it so it should be this and this. But with the power of our self-transmutation, we could turn it in, metamorphosize, and reform anything in what we want to. And that's the original creator essence component of what a creator is, and what we do, and what and how everything, this allness of totality of all, this allness of all, in which I saw from Secret Energy someone phrase it. I'll definitely like pull his name up, because I asked a question in like 2016, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, times going backwards and forward at the same time. It's like there's aspects and components of everything. So like looking at time from an unlinear level, an unlinear scope, and knowing that that is inside of us, because everybody's talking about, well, go within, go within. Well, what's inside us, that is the great work. That's the great psychological electromagnetic work. And like, yeah, yet again, what I wanted to hit home, anything that you come across, you are defining it. And people aren't keen in what they haven't fully processed themselves. And that's why the balance aspect of properism, you know, and you could go against it, but what is the highest equalization? What's the highest balance of all things? Is what everybody in my humble POV is. That's what everyone's doing on a low key level, high key level, middle key level, whatever key level that you're doing, whatever you think you're doing. Like, what do you even know you're doing in all respects? Like, and like, I want to ask that in all neutralities, finding the neutrality in things, and the highest, seeing that as its own platform, its own base, you know, really being keen on who to give it to. Because yet again, I'm going back, you can't just give like a bunch of flowers to a bunch of thorns. What's going to happen to the flowers? The flowers are going to get fucked up. So it's like it goes back to the choice and who's making the choices. Going back, we're mapping out our own probabilities. We're mapping out of quote unquote control of like what's influencing us to make us what we are, who we are, when we are, why we are, how we are, etc., etc., etc. And going back, just really picking up these tidbit phrases and tags and catch lines, yeah, moreover like tag bits or tag droplets of just the emanating essence of what is being expressed and projected by whom, where, the environment, because that seems to have some influence on how we're feeling, the way we're feeling. So that's the underlying low key one of what's making. So it's a 3-1 and it's a 2-1. And those things have, and it's a 3-4, because those number codes, that's a new. So if we're going from backwards time, there's a whole, in all respects, I know nothing about this westernized code of, you know, Steve Jobs said it. This is going to be ground one day, you know, in all respects, and that's going in all parallel essences. Like you could, see. I have to pull up all these links, because like we're our own, like, consciousness is its own biocomputer. So what is like the essence of like the form of the conscious intelligence? And if you want to go like say what's the most advanced conscious intelligence, what is it, what form is it, and how does it work, that's the seemingly question people are like even trying to hope to like ask and articulate from a deeply embedded level, because all it is, everybody is just looking for clarity in the end. That's from my emanating intuition, is just like everybody's, and that's another intention, just clarity. And then what are you going to do with clarity? Because what is like could be respectively like, you know, drop down as a drop folder for clarity. It's like, and it could be a fib fold. And see, this is the new code. But anyways, and I've already said it, and Steve Jobs said it, because he's like, and there's a bunch of shit that has been unrecorded that I will recall, and I recall it from all aspects and levels to support this ultimate grand platform of ironic fucking unravelances. And, you know, block out the word ironic. You know, I mean, we are what we are, and we came from what we came from, and we are evolving into what we're going to evolve into balance, perfect infinity in all respects. And just keep on going back. Like Steve Jobs said, like this is ground floor, you know, it's going to be obsolete was his key word. And like, what's going to be obsolete? Like in all respects, even consciousness is obsolete. Look at, like, in all respects, because look at 1,000,000 years ago, we were obviously from linear time, from a linear observation, from the new underlying, so the key word is like, what are the underlying essences, the unknown subtle foundation that is supporting the quote unquote foundation. So it's the pre-foundation of the foundation, and whatever you want to give, and what does the soul yearn to express is that we all are, you know, evolution. We all are the grander picture. We all are a part of it. We're all, and if you're coming from the future, then everything is more than okay. And just reflecting and on all the things and the reminders, and just being slow with what's reminding us of, you know, bliss, and more than bliss, what's reminding us for your own joy and your own productivity and your own fucking meaning and your own purpose, is going back to, and it's not just people that are just like the pillars and the foundations. It's ideas and concepts and art and music and all of that put together, making it, and just seeing the streams for what they are, and just in the highest like subtle grace, just counteracting it pretty much on a visual level, on all sensory type level modes, doing it. So there it is right there. So what makes us, so we could get some more, so there's look at everyone's talking about, yeah, there's default base powers, which Gene Keys, Richard Rudd, shout out, dude. See, look at, we gotta like support, shout out these people. Everybody has to step forth. Don't be saying I'm just up. Everybody has to come fucking forth. So don't be pointing fingers at me and looking at me like I'm just the doofus. Intelligence has evolved so much. Shout out to all these people. So all these people are being called forth to fucking put their piece together. It's like continuum. Look at, so underlyingly, they're not just seeds anymore. It's a deneutralization of trees and seeds. These trees are fucking fully formed. They're billions of years old of trees. What's the oldest tree you know? What does that tree know? There you go. So it's more than just a seed. The deneutralization of all these seeds, and it is a seed because the grand tree is always planting seeds. So, and I did in Javita MLM. I said this business model in 2011, probably maybe 10. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Maybe timelessness. And I was going back to creating the new timeless web of, you know, observing the linear from the unlinear and seeing that new time blanket of what that is and how that's Fibonacciically orbiting and revolving and synergistically methodicalating around, you know, any source essence, and seeing the grand emporium, the radiant spectrum of, you know, source energy, source batteries, which is in the highest fucking just irony, I guess, is every particle and wave and, you know, zero space and the merging of all those and every body from a macro to minute level. All of that is, you know, the highest microscopic particle. If everything is truly inside out, and this is bracing them for the future, then that would, in essence, to some degree, be the macro body in itself, you know, because it's formulating and it has to highly extremely like self-perpetually organize and stabilize all that it is. So coming from that like highest realm, and this is just, whether I'm a fraud or not, a phony or not, scam or not, it really doesn't fucking matter, because what like really matters to you, first of all, me asking you, and like, why would you even dwell on it? Why would you even like think to like operate on such a like low fucking caca poo poo vibe at this state, that, and it's seeing your own potential from everybody and having everybody in me and everybody in you, but you being dormant of this oneness, allness, because this is the mechanics, the biospiritual mechanics of oneness, of allness, seeing the powers in every moment, but still gradually macrolizing that it's just one power. So ending the highest paradox of oneness, zeroness, and infinity, and seeing the infinite zeroness and the infinite oneness, and the oneness and the zeroness is the two-ness, and the two-ness is just the threeness in one sense, and the threeness was always the zeroness. So the zeroness was always the fourness, because the four, we're going back to the 0 4 and the 4 0 of just the ultimate door, and that in itself is the grand five, and the grand five is just the ultimate metahuman that we are planning to conceive of. Because the meta template, what is the meta template to you, or whatever you want to fucking call it? What is it for, and how are we giving it to everybody? Like, okay, so we're all putting our pieces together. So what were we saying? So we're saying that I'm recalling back everything that has been lost. We're recalling it back, and just, yeah, and whether I'm oh yeah, let's go back. Whether I'm a scam, fraud, phony, something inside me has its own will. So that in essence is I'm a pawn to myself, whatever. Okay, moving on. And that's the thing, we got to move on, because like, and you know what? We all, no matter how stagnant, zombified, and solidified you are, you're still fucking moving, because everything else is moving. So you're forced to move. So on energetic, grand, masculine, cosmic level, even the densest of dense is moving. Because so going back, so not even the podcast, like just the wildfire, the wild streaming, fyric, solidified concepts that we hope to bring forth to actually do what we're saying we're gonna fucking do, which is every claim, all your claims that you've made in all ultimate neutrality, equalization, whatever the fuck that is to you. What did you say you were gonna do? What did I say I was gonna do? Now let's turn the tables back on myself, because look at this. What is ultimate perpetualism? It's like whatever you give back, or no, whatever you give to someone else in an underlying subtle, I don't want to use the word guilt, quote unquote guilt, but you're going to, like, in essence, well, this is from a place of purity, so I can't speak for everybody, because everybody's on their own grand, unique, universal level, and everybody's own universe, and that's fucking fatty. Anyways, whatever I do to you, what if I want to experience it for myself? You know, okay, I did this, and what if that's been this fucking underlying trend? So we're saying that we need to do all these underlying trends. We all need to put it together. We all need to put these practicalities, these protocols, these capabilities, these components, all these things, characteristics mastered together, and it's oneness and nothingness and you-ness. So finding the trinergistic new math code, coming from the fucking future, doing what we're going to say we're going to do, which is, and you know what, we're all doing it right now. So like shouting out to, and one of the things, and people are getting it. So don't say people aren't getting. 10% is a fat number. 10% of people are awake. Look at answers. Once you have answers to your questions, you can move on to the next riddle. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Oh, riddle solved. We got the answers. Now we don't have to dwell, because there's underlying subconscious components we have to be keen of. And shouting out to these insectillions, you know, for doing their thing. And for them, all of them, whichever fucking spectrum of them they are, you know, implementing it to this highest metaphysical meta template human creation, which we're all bringing forth to say that we're going to do. All these fucking fake ass entrepreneurs saying they don't even know the true definition of how the word entrepreneur got created. Entrepreneur is solving problems. Deeper than the entrepreneur is something entirely different. Etymologically, it could be like devourer of confusion, illusion, and distortions. And that's what I am, the entrepreneur, you know? Because I fucking do what needs to be done for the best of the quote-unquote company, quote-unquote whole, quote-unquote. And that's what it is on an underlying subtle level. This is our project. This is our creations. This is what we made specifically, personally. This is what we will get received to us in what we created. And you're going to take it however you're going to take it. And that's the beauty, because everyone's going to take it uniquely. And that's contributing to its own energetic fucking field. So now, what do you want to do? Shouting out to everybody who's helped you. Appreciating everybody who's helped you. Osho, you know. Seven, Saad, you know, Sheik, Sokowicz. The Sokowicz brothers. The Wachowski brothers. Neo somehow gets in there. Because we're all Neo too. You want to hate on Neo? He's a neophyte. We have to fight for what we believe in, you know, and we're all new at something. And there's always new pockets of energy being created, but for the human, the current common general standard basic baby conscious human that is generally all of us to some fat degree, because we're all having that own parallel Shakti pod of, you know, just newness, innocentness, everything being what? Just new, like innocence comes to mind instantaneously, instinctually, but just learning, you know, learning and being new and fresh and like negating obviously this Indriya. Excuse me for using that word. I mean, if it offends anybody, being sensitive, being keen, but doing it, you know, like, yes. And thank you for the reminders. Thank you for inspiring me. I hope, like, to some orbulating, you know, globular, molecular, emanating essence orb form of, you know, allness, I could serve you. And that's what it's going to boil down to, because what else is there to do but serve? and seeing the best in all things, seeing the beauty in all things, seeing like the gift and the curse and the gift, seeing the suppression and the traits of benefit it will give us in what would you like to be long lasting for you? What would you like to conserve? What do you think you deserve? What are you preserving? What are you recuperating? What are you regenerating? What are you revitalizing? What are you reinvigorating? What are you re-inspiring? Whatever it is for you, like, what's going on? Right? What's going? And you know what? And all fucking surprisingness and neutralizing the surprisingness. Look at, if you slow down as much as you can and speeding up as much as you can, what happens? Straight up, dude. And doing the shout outs always, like, because like we could slow down and speeding up. So look at, these cats are still in like everybody's learning. Everybody's in a state of like their own unique duality, their own little shifting, their own generating. Oh, how can I get power? Oh, I need power from these people. Admitting that. Being savage with your honesty and your authenticity. Going beyond maturity, the wisdom that made the maturity what it is and was. Whatever that came from. Which is all of us. So recalling everything, negating everything, right this second, this instant, this moment. Let that sing for all of you. For your own personal fucking eternities. Do you feel me? Hear me, see me, do you all me? It's all senses. Don't just fucking feel me. And go beyond that. Shout out to Beyond Ananda. So like we keep shouting people out, we keep slowing things down. So it's about mastery too. So, but it's also about fluctuous simultaneity, because look at mastery, that word in itself. Oh, let's hone down, let's do one thing. And you know what? That is great, but if we're in a quantum field right now, which we always have been, but we're realizing it, we're coming it, we're digesting it, we're processing it on our own rates, and that's fine. So let's release all the pressure right now, and this in a neutral way. It kind of is, kind of isn't. It's manageable, you know, because why? Because it's to your benefit, because it's helping you, it's supporting. What's making it so it's quote unquote manageable, securing, because it's in your favor. What's in your favor? What not? So going back, where are we going? We're already here. Are we? More or less. Pinpoint. So keywords, pinpoint, shouting out to all the people. So shouting out to Secret Energy, a specific question, not the website. Someone who asked the question on the website. Because, and you know what? This is just one time field. So like no one's, and it's cool because everyone's learning not to judge. My chocolate bars, ooh, got put back together. I cracked it. It got put back together. And that's the thing, dude. Look at, oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, and look at, instilling the only thought, it will get put back together. Hands down, non-stoply. Because why? Because the infinite energy is in your favor. Of non-neutrality. Of non-duality. And non-duality negates it completely, mathematically, on an overarching level. And that's what it is. That's the energetic overarchment. And it's however you want to take it. And you know what? A year from now, it's going to be different. It's going to get better, whether you want to think of it like that or not. And yeah, it's done with. We can map it out, slap it out, whatever it takes, this is now, this is here. Let's do it, dude. You going to respond to this? Or are you just going to keep walking? Are you going to respond to this? And I want to help you. I want to help you. Yo, see, look, he got the fucking picture. And just really instilling the collective source wisdom and non-source wisdom, and just the non-duality, and you, whatever works for you, utilize it, download it. Okay, it's working for me. This is my understanding of it. This is my interpretation of it. This is going to be my sequence of it. Acknowledging the uniqueness too. Yeah, we are unique, but acknowledging it and respecting it. Respecting yourself too. And that goes back to the question, what is you? Which is you? We are all up. All our dreams are going to fucking manifest. To what caliber? To whatever you chose on the soul level. Done. Don't talk to me. Who did God create us? Not necessarily. You created yourself, did you not? The divine feminine on a negentropic, random, chaotic level influenced you, did it not? It wasn't just the divine neutrality or the divine masculine that entirely created you. No. Source didn't necessarily create you. The sources, but they did. Okay, so look, keep on going back to the carousel of non-duality. So what did we get in the dreams? What did we mash out? What did we solve in the dreams? We're solving shit in the dreams, 40. Okay, there's no dimensions. It's the allness of all. Shout out to the person asking the question, what happens when the most densest thing meets the most lightest thing, or the most slowest thing meets the most fast thing? Anyways, just gonna mash it up, find your own balance, find your own trinity, find your own bliss and excitement, and pretty much alright, why are they interrupting me, dude? Okay, so so threading it is one thing, and it's a thread, and just seeing how the masculine sits in the feminine, seeing how the feminine sits in the masculine, seeing how the neutrality sits in both of them and connects both of them, and seeing the five in that, the simplified five, but seeing like what we're doing with the feminine. So look at the feminine is the feminine. And the feminine is awesome. It's the most awesome thing ever. And the feminine essence is not just, bomb-ass quote-unquote ladies, or ladies in general, because every lady is beautiful, and every lady has the potential to be the best version they could be. And it boils down to not gender too. It's just a matter of principle of we've been misguided, acknowledging that, and now we need to be guided. We've been misguided to experience what we experienced, to experience the torment, because it's not just females. But I want to shout out that every female and every lady is beautiful. I love all you guys, in respects to like the humble reciprocative love we share, because if we're not reciprocating, why would I spend any time with you? And I don't want to go over this again, but like the feminine is awesome, the feminine essence, and it's, yeah, and yet again, it's not just beautiful, top-notch ladies or ladies in general. And the feminine touch is within the masculine too. So like all these like people who have the feminine qualities, and I'm not talking about aesthetics or looks or things that look good on the eye. It's the feeling of the aura of what someone has to genuinely offer. Everybody is talented. Everybody has music capabilities. So everybody has that feminine. And going back, the feminine is awesome. What is the feminine? It's the chaotic, it's the random emanating multiversal wombic, etheric, auric-like creative essence of energies, of substance, of like what is, and that's the feminine to me. And it's just like, and feminizing, masculizing all that is feminine, which is the essence of imagination, ideas, and creation. But to ignite it, to like shape it, I don't want to use the word structuralize, because, oh yeah, structure, oh. Dude, we've already been over this, but it's shouting out to everybody who made you what you are, you know? Whether it be Archangel Michael, whether it be Archangel Gabes, whether it be Archangel, you know, Yeshua, or Zadkiel, or I don't know. And check, do you want to correspond yourself? Who has the right to correspond everybody? Who knows? From my own understanding, I have the right to clarify it how I will. That's the thing. And this is my own aura, but the coexistence of the aura is the grand experiment experience and meaning. So trifectalizing the experiment and the experience is the purpose and the meaning of you. So basically, to interweave it, to interthread it, that's what we're doing within ourselves to whatever you call a source, no names. I'm thinking it's a Jagannath. And that sounds kind of cool, a Jagannath or Aganamoth or whatever, because Jagannath is this like dark matter being who encapsulates all the entities, all the prime entities, you know. And I didn't say any other names. But anyways, going back, see, and that's besides the point, you know, because everybody has a grand macro perspective, so you can't just focus on this one being, because everything is so macrolicious. So macrolicious being you, but macrolicious being the interweaving and the interthreading of you with the source points of the multi-grand array spectra of source and your current collective area right now. Interweaving, interthreading, intermolding it with all. And seeing it, you in corresponds to your society, to your city. You've been through a lot. You deserve hugs. You deserve love. Your community needs to work with you. We need to work with our community. How so? In the highest up-to-date current fashion. Not this mishmash fucking Sally Struthers potato fashion. No. And excuse me for like saying such things. But, you know, things are what they are, and we're flowing how we're flowing. We're moving how we're moving. You're moving how you're moving. We're moving how we're moving. Source is moving how it's moving. And that's what everyone's seeming to figure out. So look at getting the visuals for the physics of the cosmos, the physics of the multiverse, the physics of the timelines, the physics of, you know, the magnetisms and the electricities, the prime electricities, the prime magnetisms, the spectros, the convergences, the transferences, you know, the maximizations, the charging, the grounding, you know, and the art and all that in itself too. So do you see the pinging effect from so look at you can't blame anybody, bro. You've been given more than enough. If you're still on that blaming game, slap yourself, please. For the sake of your existence. And I think I'm going to have to end it on that one. 3113. 31's a good number. Shout out to the brother Acha. Oh shit, sorry. Do I know him? Who knows? Do I love him? I have love for everybody. Get to the chopper. Get to the charger. Get to the Troika. What's up, bitch? Okay. See, chill, dude. Anyways, they don't even know what a troika is. And look at, it's, what have you constructed? What have you, like, quote unquote, temporarily solidified for yourself? Because that's all it is. It's a temporary solidification. Because look at, even the biggest, most heaviest object is still moving, is it not? Anyways, going back and keenly interweaving this with my own self. So going back. Threading this parcel of energy, not person, not intelligence, and seeing consciousness and potential material of substance that in itself, I guess, could be conscious, you know? But you're seeing the underlying reciprocative bridge, the funnel of you and your creation, and the creation coming ultimately back to you, so you are your own creation. That's what it boils down to. So what are we boiling? Nothing. Maybe something. Maybe a lot of things. Maybe we're all getting boiled. But the temperature is so perfect. It's so... Look here. Are we all getting boiled? Go to Sedona, maybe. I just might, motherfucker. Okay. And I'm already there. Because look at... And seeing, look at... People want to fucking argue. And, you know, that's a gift in itself. People want to argue, let the people be them, you know. People are going to be them. No dust off my fucking shoulders. I'm going to take and it's how you receive and it's how you fucking transmute, and it's whatever you take out of a situation to ultimately benefit your long-lasting life. I don't need, and look at adopting or not adopting, just being one with the modalistic principles of, look at, I don't need, look at, do we need anybody's worship? No. Do we need anybody's like, a little bit of like acknowledgement? Or just don't? Because look, what did it say in the original Sumerian texts? Don't worship the gods, admire them. Admire them. It's just, and it's all up to you in the end. So going back, tightly knitting it, threading it, sewing it, masculizing the feminine, feminizing the masculine, neutralizing the allness of no neutrality of the interthreaded math codes. Do the math codes. Stop. So look at all the code. I don't know why I have like this like anger, I guess, and that's what it is. Frustration is the cousin to anger, and they're like, and it's a natural occurrence, and if you want to call it stupid, call it stupid, but I'll accept it. That's the part of humility. What is humility? It's this moment. Anyways, tightly knitting it with these other podcasts, but like being proper with the parallels, and it's pretty basic, simple, because it's like, okay, voice recordings with voice recordings, poems with poems, people with people, projects with projects, resonations with resonations. And it's funny because like it all has its own macro, micro ratio, percentage scale of all of it connecting with everything else. You connect with that. We all connect with a piece of shit because it's in us. So and I'm sorry, like, we all need to grow up, dude, like a silly way. And it sounds weird, but anyways, I think I have to stop. The consciousness is getting too loud over here, and whatever consciousness is to you, and it's this moment, it's this breath, honoring the elements, honoring the fire, and seeing the manneristic, socialistic alchemicalisms, because look at it, this is like on a social level. Alchemy is going down. It's like emotional alchemy and shit, because but it's also like intelligent alchemy too, and wisdom alchemy, because it's like, look, dude, there's nothing to fear. Like, everybody has a best interest for everybody. So putting this podcast with the two other podcasts, making it like, I think the other one was 33 minutes. This one's 36. That's 69. I got the number 69 yesterday. I need to think back to what was the source of the meaning and just recalling it, the memory. Shout out to Saad for bringing up the memory. Shout out to everybody, doing their part. And the other podcast, the third one, was like, I think 13. So 13, 33, 36, 69, 79, 82, 92. And respecting that 2 number too, because the 0 and the 1 is the underlying 2. So the 2 is like the 0, because it's the final thread, but the 2 is the 3. All numbers are all numbers, and seeing all numbers within all numbers, and doing like this reverse infinity equation, this reverse engineering process of etheric thermodynamics. Anyways, I mean, should I keep going? Well, look at my circumstances and like that. And no one's judging anymore, because it's like everybody has very highly unique circumstances. Shout out to all the benevolent highest intelligence. Shout out to all the benevolent insectillions, and that's a fucking statement. Don't, because look at the highest ironic paradox is we are like within our young shells, like we all have this spectrum of ancientism too, because the intelligence and what's been passed down to us makes us all ancient. Everybody, you know, and just kind of dispelling that highest paradox. But we're also young because what has been, you know, really maintained and self-sustained within one's quote-unquote liquefied, solidified form of consciousness, of maintaining and managing all things. And I don't want to just be like, oh, this is this and this is that. I don't want to give off that, but like, this is just me putting things together on an innocent, clarifiable level. Okay, I'm sweating in my eyeballs right now. Shout out to America, because I'm in this country and everything's everybody, you know, everybody's everybody. Shout out. And just gonna drop a Trinity podcast pretty soon. All right, thanks, bye.